Home defense is never a topic to take lightly, especially when age starts to slow the hands and soften the grip. For seniors, the idea of owning a firearm isn't about bravado or tactical readiness. It's about feeling safe in one's own home, especially when the world outside can sometimes feel unpredictable. But here's the truth. Choosing the right home defense weapon isn't just about firepower or brand names. It's about finding something that matches the user's physical ability, confidence, and real-world needs. In this video, we're diving deep into practical, no-nonsense guidance to help seniors, or their families, make the right choice. Understanding senior needs. When it comes to choosing a home defense weapon for seniors, we're not just picking something off a shelf. We're matching a tool to a person's abilities, limitations, and lifestyle. Just like you wouldn't hand your grandma a chainsaw to trim a bonsai, you shouldn't hand her a full-frame 1911 and expect confidence and control. As we age, certain things just don't work like they used to. Grip strength fades, arthritis can creep in, and hand-eye coordination might lag behind. Even the simple act of racking a slide or pulling a double-action trigger can be a frustrating challenge. That's why one of the golden rules in this arena is, if it's hard to operate when you're calm, it'll be near impossible under stress. So, what do we look for? Weight matters. A heavy firearm can feel like a brick after just a few seconds of holding it. A lightweight design, without sacrificing too much in durability, is key. Low recoil is non-negotiable. Nobody wants to fire once and drop the gun or flinch every shot. Calibers like .380 ACP, .22 Magnum, or even 9mm with the right recoil system are popular for good reason. Simplicity rules. The fewer buttons, safeties, levers, and complicated reload mechanisms, the better. Think, load, point, shoot. Especially under duress, simplicity saves seconds and lives. Trigger pull should be manageable. Too light, and there's risk. Too heavy, and arthritic fingers may never get the shot off. A balanced, consistent pull is ideal. Ergonomics count. A firearm that fits well in hand, has intuitive controls, and maybe even features like a rack assist or easy load magazine tabs can make all the difference. When paired wisely, the right weapon becomes a true extension of the user, not an intimidating machine, but a trusted tool. And when it comes to self-defense, especially for seniors, confidence and comfort are just as important as caliber. Revolvers are often the first thing folks recommend when it comes to arming seniors. It's simple. They say, just point and shoot. And sure, on paper, that sounds great. No slide to rack, no magazine to load, no buttons, no safeties, no drama, just a good old-fashioned wheel gun with a trigger and 6 chances to make your point. But here's the rub. While revolvers are mechanically simple, they're not always physically easy. The double-action trigger pull, that long, deliberate squeeze, is usually around 10 to 13 pounds. That's about the same as squeezing a wet sponge full of cement. For seniors with arthritis or limited grip strength, that can turn every shot into an arm workout. Now, some people work around that by cocking the hammer first, what we call single action mode. The trigger becomes feather light after that. But here's the problem. Pulling back a hammer with weak thumbs can make the muzzle dance like it's had one too many coffees. And if the finger's already on the trigger while cocking the hammer, which happens more often than you'd think, it creates a real risk of an accidental bang before anyone's ready for it. And let's not forget, revolvers don't exactly come with power steering. Holding one steady, especially with a short barrel and stiff recoil, takes more arm control than people assume. What seems manageable in a store feels like a boat anchor after 30 seconds of aiming at shoulder height. That said, revolvers can work well for some seniors, especially lightweight models in .22 or .38 caliber. But don't mistake simplicity for suitability. Like a manual transmission, they make sense when you know how to use them and have the strength to match. Semi-automatic pistols are like the modern microwave of the gun world, fast, efficient, and full of buttons. For seniors, they offer some very real advantages. Larger magazine capacity, softer trigger pull, especially after racking the slide, and the ability to mount lights, lasers, and even red dot sights. First, the slide. Racking it requires both grip strength and coordination, and for someone with arthritis, tendon issues, or just plain aging hands, That can be like trying to open a stubborn pickle jar with both hands tied behind your back. Some manufacturers have tried to address this with models like the Smith & Wesson Shield EZ, which lives up to its name by offering an easy rack slide and easier-to-load magazines. It's one of the few semi-autos that doesn't make seniors feel like they're arm wrestling a machine. Still, semi-autos have their quirks, jams, and malfunctions, though rare, require a certain level of familiarity to clear. Tap rack bang sounds cool in a movie, but try doing it half asleep at 2 a.m. with shaky hands and a dry mouth. That's why training is not optional with these. The good news? If a senior is willing to spend a little time getting familiar with their pistol and chooses a model designed with them in mind, semi-autos can be an excellent choice. Low recoil, easy optics mounting, and more rounds on tap than a revolver. Think of it this way. It's like switching from a rotary phone to a smartphone. Yes, it takes some getting used to, but once you've got the hang of it, it opens up a lot more possibilities. If revolvers are old school and pistols are modern, then shotguns are the blunt instrument of the bunch, the baseball bat of the gun world, only louder and messier. Shotguns offer serious stopping power, and at close range, they're incredibly effective. You don't need pinpoint accuracy, you just point in the general direction of trouble, and the problem tends to go away. That's the theory, anyway. But here's where the fantasy runs into reality. Shotguns kick like a mule with an attitude problem. Even the so-called lightweight models in 12 or 20 gauge can be a real handful, especially when fired from the shoulder of someone whose last upper body workout was carrying groceries. Then there's the weight and length. A standard shotgun isn't exactly compact. Moving through tight hallways or around corners with one can feel like steering a canoe through a hallway. Shorter options like the Mossberg 590 Shockwave help with length, but not so much with recoil. Also, the Shockwave has no stock, which makes aiming harder and control trickier, especially for shaky hands. To make matters worse, manual pump actions require real coordination. Under stress, racking the slide correctly without short stroking or fumbling can be more complicated than it looks. It's not just click, clack, and go. It's click, clack correctly or get nothing. That said, 20-gauge shotguns, loaded with low recoil buckshot and with proper training, can still work for seniors, particularly in a home defense setup where mobility isn't a big factor, like from behind a bedroom door. But for most folks, unless they're confident and practiced, a shotgun might end up doing more bruising to the user than the intruder. Not every senior wants to keep a firearm at home, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes the idea of a lethal weapon in the nightstand feels less like peace of mind and more like a ticking time bomb. That's where less lethal options come in. Think of these tools as the pepper spray and flashlight equivalent of home defense. They won't stop a bear, but they might convince a burglar to reconsider their life choices. One common choice is pepper spray or gel. It's affordable, compact, and doesn't require much training. Just point and press. Most modern canisters have a decent range, up to 10-12 feet, and the effects are, let's say, persuasive. We're talking coughing, tearing, disorientation, the whole buffet of regret. Next up, stun guns and tasers. They can be effective if used properly, but they're also up close and personal, like handshake distance. That's not ideal in a real home invasion unless you moonlight as a ninja. And most require a steady grip, quick reaction, and nerve of steel. Not easy traits to summon at 3 a.m. when you've just spilled your glass of warm milk. There are also less lethal projectile launchers like the Byrna or Pepperball systems. These look and feel like real guns but fire irritant rounds. They can be a good compromise, more intimidating than spray, safer than bullets. Downsides? They're expensive, require some maintenance, and still need aiming under stress. Bottom line, less lethal doesn't mean less serious. These tools can buy time, disorient threats, and give a senior the critical seconds to call for help or escape. Just don't rely on them like magic wands. They work best when paired with other layers of home security and a good plan. So, after weighing the pros and cons, let's get down to what everyone wants to know. What are the actual guns worth considering? We're talking real-world options here. No fancy military gear, no Hollywood props, just practical firearms that balance ease of use, safety, reliability, and minimal recoil. Think of this as the senior-friendly shortlist, like orthopedic shoes for the hands, but way more exciting. This pistol was practically made for seniors. It has an easy slide that's genuinely easy to rack, magazines that are gentle on the thumbs, and a crisp trigger. The 380 version is the softest shooting, but even the 9mm isn't a wrist breaker. It also comes with a grip safety and optional thumb safety for extra peace of mind. If a semi-auto ever had senior citizen discount energy in the best possible way, this is it. Want something as simple as point and click? The LCR is a featherweight revolver with a smooth trigger pull and snag-free design. It's chambered in .22 Magnum, .38 Special, and even .357 Magnum. But for seniors, we'd recommend the .38 Special loaded with low recoil defense rounds. It's reliable, easy to clean, and won't intimidate first-time shooters. Think of it like the reliable old flip phone. Just works. No fluff. 3. Glock 42 380 ACP. This is Glock's smallest and softest shooting pistol. While it doesn't have the fancy easy features of the Shield, it makes up for it with extreme reliability, a light recoil, and a very simple manual of arms. The Glock 42 is perfect for someone who doesn't want to deal with safeties or too many buttons. Just remember, Glock triggers are light and deliberate training is a must, but once learned, it's smooth sailing. The CCP is a bit of an underdog. It has a gas-delayed blowback system that makes recoil feel more like a nudge than a punch. The ergonomics are excellent, especially for smaller or weaker hands, and the trigger isn't half bad either. It's one of those pistols that doesn't get much love online but quietly wins people over at the range. This one is a wild card. It's not for everyone, but when paired with a laser-rate light combo and loaded with mild recoil shells, it becomes a surprisingly effective bedside option, especially from a static position, like defending a bedroom doorway. Just remember, it looks cool, but it still kicks. If you're going to go this route, make sure there's training involved. Even the finest firearm in the world is just an expensive paperweight if the person holding it doesn't know what to do with it. For seniors, this isn't about turning into John Wick overnight. It's about becoming comfortable, capable, and calm under pressure. Like learning to drive an automatic after years of walking. Intimidating at first, but totally doable. Start with the basics. If you've never shot before, get to a range. Better yet, find one that offers a first-time shooter or senior firearm familiarization class. Many ranges even have rental programs so you can try out different models before buying, like test driving cars, but louder. Dry fire practice at home, with an unloaded gun, of course, helps reinforce muscle memory. Rack the slide, aim, squeeze, do it again and again. Think of it like stretching before gardening. Keeps you limber and lowers the chance of accidents. One thing that can't be stressed enough: know your limitations and work with them, not against them. If arthritis is an issue, focus on firearms with soft triggers and slides. If vision is reduced, invest in red dot optics or laser light combos. They're not just bells and whistles, they're quality of life upgrades. Now, safe storage is a must. Even if you live alone, a quick access gun safe is highly recommended. Fingerprint safes are popular, but keypad models work just as well. Just make sure you can open it reliably under stress. Practice opening your safe with the lights off and under time pressure. It's like fire drills, but with a steel sidekick. Lastly, if you're not going to practice with the gun, don't rely on it as your only line of defense. An alarm system, strong locks, motion lights, or even a yappy dog can do a lot to stop a break-in before it starts. Your firearm is the final option, not the first. Choosing the right gun is only part of the puzzle, just like how a good pair of reading glasses makes the newspaper readable. The right accessories can turn a decent firearm into a true home defense companion for seniors. First off, a weapon-mounted light is essential. Many intrusions happen in low light, and fumbling for a flashlight while aiming isn't exactly ideal. A simple, bright LED mounted on the rail helps identify threats without guesswork. Next up, laser sights or red dots can be game changers. For folks with aging eyes or bifocals, finding iron sights under stress is like threading a needle in a thunderstorm. A red dot gives you a clear, fast reference point. Just place and press. Consider adding grip-enhancing materials or aftermarket grips that offer better control for arthritic or weaker hands. Recoil-reducing grips and stock pads for long guns can also make training more tolerable. Lastly, low-recoil ammunition isn't technically an accessory, but it deserves mention. Ammo like 380 ACP FMJs or light 9mm loads help reduce the punishment and increase accuracy. These tools don't make up for poor training, but they sure make a well-trained senior even more capable when it counts. When it comes to home defense for seniors, the goal isn't to create an arsenal, it's to build confidence. The kind that says, I've thought this through. I'm ready. Whether that confidence comes from a well-chosen firearm, smart accessories, or just a bit of regular practice. It's a powerful thing. If this video helped clear the fog around this complex topic, consider giving it a like or sharing it with someone who needs it. And if you've got experience, advice, or even a funny training story, drop it in the comments below. We're all learning here. Take care, stay steady, and see you in the next one.